Guys, maybe it's just me, but every time I go to buy something, I'm shocked at what it costs. Whether I just bought it last week or I haven't bought it for 10 years. And I don't know why that is, but it's something I think we need to talk about on this week's Tuesday Morning Tech Tip from Pugliese Speed Shop. Guys, don't worry. This isn't going to be like some political bullshit of, oh, this guy did this and that guy did that. No. No matter who's in charge, no matter where I lived, East Coast, West Coast, somewhere in the middle, North, South, whatever, every time I'm just baffled by it, right? It happened the other day. We bought this guy right here. And when Jay sent me a text, hey, this is what this costs, I was like, Maron, right? But what's funny is he sent that thinking like he was nowhere near what it was going to cost either. So at least I'm not alone, right? And yeah, me and Jay are around the same age. He's a little older, just in case you wonder. But does it have to do with that? Like, because things used to just be cheaper back, when we first started doing this kind of stuff? I don't know. I mean, it's. And then what do? We sit around, we think about it, right? I know for me, I'll take a lap around the store. It drives Megan bananas. But I will. I'll take a walk around the store and be like, do I really need this? Can I work without this? Because I can spend money somewhere else. And it's just, you guys know I'm cheap, right? That's just so. Am I the only guy that's doing this? I don't think so. Actually, I know I'm not, because Jay hit me up thinking the exact same thing. So at least two of us are thinking the same way. And I know, like Kevin, working on Roy, he's doing the same thing. He's like doing like a budget build, trying not to get out of control. So he's thinking about this stuff. So I don't know why. I don't know. I'm getting dizzy. I'm going to sit down and we'll try it, see if we can figure it out together. Guys, seriously, this is something it's kind of becoming a problem with me, because I'm getting like shocked by, sticker shock, I guess is what they call it, right? To the point where I'll tell Megan, I'm going to go buy some things, they're going to be whatever. And then like she'll see the card, the receipt or whatever, and say, Chaz, I thought it was only this much. And I'm like, I really thought it was. She's like, right, of course you did, but it's always ends up, it's never cheaper. Well, no, can't remember a time, like an example of when it was cheaper. But yeah, she thinks I'm playing her. Like, I'm gonna go out and spend this money. Like, I don't need to lie to her. We don't got that kind of relationship, Like, it's not that kind of thing. But it's just like, it almost seems like I am, right? Like, why would I? It's been happening forever. I remember, picture it, all right?
Picture it. Sicily, 1912.
Pocono Mountains, Pennsylvania, 1993. You need a battery. I remember being like $35. Like, everything was $35. A battery, a starter, a water pump, alternator, all this was $35. And maybe I'm crazy, but that's what I remember. Like a carburetor rebuild kit was like $15. Right? It was this, and it was all mainly small block Chevy stuff, because that's usually what I messed with, or old school like Pontiac or whatever, all GM type stuff. So at first, when I bought my first Dodge, I had a 97 Dodge Dakota. And that kind of was my first Dodge, because the Ram 50 was actually Mitsubishi. The alternator went out. No, first the water pump went out. It was $70. And I'm like, well, no, this is double what I expected. And then the alternator was like 140 or something. I'm like, what's going on here? Now, this was 2002-ish. So, 9 years after I first got my license, and apparently things were changing. Now, you go get a battery now. I just put a battery in a Tundra. I want to say it was $220. And that was like after discounts and this and that, whatever. If you can, it's crazy. Now, yeah, you can go to Walmart, right, and get a Never Start for like maybe, $100, $150. AutoZone's got some great ones that never work too. But if you buy something halfway decent, an Interstate, a Die Hard, something like that, which, yeah, I got it, guys. All the new parts suck, but you want to get the best parts you can, if that makes sense, right? So, and I thought, like, I got it. Car part, like, you see the examples, right, where they're trying to sell you a warranty or something on your used car or whatever. It's going to cost you $1,500 to have an alternator put in. Well, if you're doing one on a '98 Eldorado, yeah, you'd have to pay me about $1,500 to do it again because it sucked. But like the one on the OBS here, no exaggeration, guys, 15-minute job, and I changed out the tensioner as well. 3 bolts, 4 bolts all connect if you actually do the tensioner, and that's it. You're done. Plug it in, you're finished. It's no big deal. But so that's kind of, I mean, you're paying for labor. I got it, But it's gone into everything, guys. And so like for example, you go to Harbor Freight, right? That was always like cheapo on top of cheapo. The only thing cheaper than that is where I got a lot of my tools that the sizes may be a little off, which is great sometimes for like bolts with rust on them or something. They fit on better. But I got a wrench set, a couple of things I got at this tool sale I went to with Jimbo back in the late 90s, early 2000s. First bought my house. I didn't have 2 nickels to rub together, but I needed tools. So my father, luckily, we swindled a deal that I got this toolbox I got over here now. Not on purpose, but he shipped me his old one. It got damaged. They gave him a bunch of money. I bought this one. Well, actually, he bought it and then had it drop shipped to me. There's a story I didn't need to tell, but I felt like it, all right? So now I got this giant toolbox and no tools. Well, they're having a home show or a tool show, whatever it was. Chuck Homer was the name. He's probably not right. If he is, hopefully he's improved his product. But I still have some of the tools, and I went there and I spent $120, guys. I filled the toolbox, right? So that was kind of like Harbor Freight back then. Because then when I moved to North Carolina, they didn't have a Harbor Freight. Now they're all over the place. They weren't like they used to. They used to not be like that. So my engine hoist, I got it at Don's Tools in Elizabeth City, North Carolina, which was a little storefront that really was like an independently owned Harbor Freight. I mean, it's even orange. It looks. You put it next to. I'm pointing, but I'll show you pictures. I'll put them up here. The kid, he's good at that. So I got a press that's from Harbor Freight that's orange. It's the exact same thing. You can tell the same people made the engine hoist, also orange. So they got them from the same manufacturer, right? That's like a wholesale thing. Well, they weren't the best made. Right, but they work. And then everything's gotten a little more precise, okay? I mean, like, it get a little better over the years. So Harbor Freight has bumped up to where, like, the Icon guys, man, I have some Icon tools. They're awesome. Kevin has gone as, you guys know Kevin, he's a Snap-on snob, he's that Air Force thing. But he's been buying Icon. He's like, guys, I seriously feels that a lot of these tools are better than the now made Snap-on ones, because that's what happens, guys. The guys that got the name up here, they start, coming down because their name's doing the job for them. The other guys are trying to bring it up. So kind of meeting in the middle on that one. Now, Icon is not the cheapest thing you can get at Harbor Freight by any stretch. The prices are comparable. I mean, you're saving money for sure, but as compared to Snap-on or Mac or whatever. But they got even the Pittsburgh. I think I showed the thing I had in this. I put in this truck, the little what do you call it, socket set or whatever. They're nice. They're actually everything's quality made. I mean, you don't open the thing and it's everywhere because the plastic mold was terrible. Whatever. They're actually stepping up their game. So you can only. I mean, you got to kind of think if they're stepping up their game, they're spending more money, you're going to spend more money. That's how it goes. So for some reason, I had it in my brain that paint shaker was going to cost $35. I said, yeah, okay. We need a paint shaker. We got the paint for the Ford. It's been sitting up at the house. I got it in the utility room up there, so it's been climately controlled because I don't want it to get messed up. So it's been sitting there, but it's been sitting there. It hasn't been, so you go ahead and get the little, wooden stake you get from Lowe's. You'll be there for the rest of your life trying to stir this thing up, and it's never going to be legit. So I was like, man, you know what? I'll buy the paint shaker because it's not the only thing I'm ever going to paint, not the only thing I'm ever going to need it for. Let's actually try to do something right around here. That's where my head's at with it. I get a lot of crap from a lot of my friends. Like, I get on a daily basis. Why don't you have a lift yet? So there's a lot of it's breaking balls. I get it, but some of it's true. So I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna keep doing this. I make things hard on myself. When I actually do something and buy something I need for whatever reason, I do have an easier time for the most part. So let's go ahead and get this. So Jay was on his way over. You guys, I think I actually took the call during the last tech tip or something when he was coming over, and I said, yeah, go ahead and buy it. He's like, all right, man. He's like, yo, it's $150. Just want to make sure you know that. And I said, it's what? Guys, I almost fell over. I thought it was like $35. Now, Jay wasn't as far off as me. He thought it was like $100. So he's more close to the times. Now, there's no reason for me to think they should have been $35. I'm looking at it right now. It does seem pretty simple. It just shakes stuff, right? But for $35, this is what you get right here. The thing that you see on Puddin's channel all the time, you put it on your Sawzall, and it just holds a spray can. That's $35 alone. Then you got to buy the Sawzall, right? So, it was crazy. I think I looked this up a little bit, and this is what I found. Again, everywhere, it's at least $150, right? And then sometimes shipping, whatever, like obviously Harbor Freight is right there, but so why did I think this? Did I want it to be that way? I don't know, guys, and then obviously I bought it, and I didn't even think about it, mainly because Jay was there. Now, if I was in the store, I would have walked around for 20, 30 minutes thinking, do I need this? How can I do this without this to save this money? And guys, this is what things cost, all right? We can bitch about it all day. We can blame it on whatever we want. Of course, everybody goes political with it because that's what we do now. But at the end of the day, things cost more. That's just it. You can buy them or you can't. So I bought it, and I'm going to continue to do it because the dudes that are breaking my balls are right. Now, do I need to have Snap on everything as far as the X? Absolutely not. No, absolutely not. Because it's a waste of money. It just is. I mean, if I was, we used it in the military. I was in the Navy. We had Snap-on stuff, and even at work here, and guess what? They broke too. But you had the warranty, right? So a lot of guys, like the home guys, are usually using it used to be Craftsman, and that kind of, they fell off a little bit. I really like the Husky tools. This wasn't supposed to be a tool tech tip. But what I'm trying to say is, if you guys want to mess with this kind of stuff, even like the junk I mess with, guys, you're going to have to buy something. All right? I mean, you might see some, a lot of channels do very low budget stuff, right? But what do they do afterwards? They get it home. Manuscript's an example. He gets it as cheap as he possibly can because he don't know what he's going to do with it, right? And he gets it home as cheap as possible. That he goes and buys tools every time, the cheapest ones possible. And they end up going with the car, or maybe he keeps some. I don't know what he does with them. But once he gets it home, he always does something after that, and that's where some money's spent. So that's where we're at. We got the stuff that we can get home, and we want to make cooler. We got to spend a couple dollars. Now, clearly, I'm not like LS swapping the world or anything like that. It's just not my deal. Never was. Don't think it ever will be. I like to take what I got and make it as cool as possible, which is why there's still a 4.3 in this OBS back here. But you got to spend money somewhere. So this is a long tech tip about a paint shaker, but it really made me think about just how I always think things aren't going to be that much money. So my advice to you would be, take 30 seconds before you go to buy something, pull out your phone, Google it right quick, and you'll realize what this stuff costs, and you can plan appropriately. There. It took me 15 minutes to tell you that. Hopefully you still stuck around. Hopefully you guys are smarter than me and already knew that, but this is what it costs, guys. Thanks for watching.